I'm back shooting another video. Today is an interesting one, a kind of fun one. I'm talking about best QBs in the league. I mean, ranked 1 to 32. 1 through 32. So I made a list, in my opinion, of if I'm in the elementary school. Back in the day, we all played, football in elementary school. Who, out of all the 32 quarterbacks, who am I selecting first and who am I selecting last? That's what I'm going to have on this list. What I did, though, for this list was I just did every quarterback that started this year, I chose to do, except for Trey Lance. I put Jimmy Garoppolo instead of him. So I'm first going to show my opinion list. And after my opinion list, and after I made it, I kind of found everyone does an opinion list. I was like, what if I try to do statistic-wise? So what I did is I went through a bunch of categories, career stats and everything, and try to rank them. And honestly, I'll get more into it once I show you the my opinion list. But I just want you to know, after my opinion list, I tried to do something cool with their stats and try to rank them that way. Anyways, without further ado, so here's my list. It could be controversial. It probably is. Some players are probably, if you're watching it right now, you're like, what the? I tried to not have it biased. I mean, I got Dak at 5. I already know, you guys, you're looking at the camera right now. I'm a Cowboys fan or whatever. If you're your first time watching the video, you're like, you see the Cowboy flag or whatever behind all the Cowboy stuff. Dak at 5. Oh my God, get out of here. But in my opinion, bro, he's a 5. I could put him higher if I really wanted my bias to set in, but I just love Dak as a QB. But I talk about the Cowboys enough, okay? I just want to get that one out of there. Dak's my 5. Now, my number 1, Josh Allen. I don't know if that's controversial at all to some, to few. I mean, Josh Allen, he's grown so much throughout the year. I mean, you look at his first couple years, his 3 years or whatever. I mean, he wasn't he was good, but he wasn't outstanding. But it just seems like every year he makes improvement. And these past couple years, I mean, he gets digs and everything, and he's just been lighting it up. Honestly, football is a team sport, but he is one of the main reasons why the Bills franchise has flipped itself on its axis, and now it's one of the dominant powerhouses. And in my whole life, it's never been a powerhouse. Number 2 got Patrick. I don't think that's any controversial. Now, Aaron Rodgers and then Tom Brady won. See, my whole dilemma with this list is how much do you weigh their past? You know what I'm saying? How much do you weigh their past and how they're playing right now? Because if you look at Aaron and Tom, they're not playing the best, and their teams aren't not playing the best. I mean, like I said earlier, teams are football sports, so it's so hard to just rank quarterbacks 1 through 32 and just judge them by how their team's doing. It's just not solely on the quarterback. But with Aaron and Tom, I could see people would probably want them lower right now just because how they're playing right now. But for Aaron, he's back-to-back MVP. He showed in the past, he's one of the purest football throwers that has ever touched football field, ever, in my opinion, period. Tom Brady, what can you say? He's the GOAT. Yeah, they're both slacking a little bit, but with them, it was just the respect factor, Their careers are up here, everyone's, right here. And yeah, some of them, other guys, might be playing better than them right now, but it's just you just can't really count them out because you've seen their past. Now, at the end of this year, I might make a new list, and they might be way down even more if they can't turn their season around. Now, Lamar Jackson, the Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow, they were tough. But I respect Lamar's running ability so much. And he's improved, this year, he's really improved his passing game, I think, which puts him up there in the 6. Now, it was really tough with Lamar and Justin. I just like the running capability a little bit. And honestly, Justin this year, he hasn't had the greatest year. He's playing with the injury and whatever. And that it's a little bit why he probably slid a little bit down. And Joe Burrow, honestly, you could put it either or, Justin or Joe ahead of Justin. I have it as Justin a little ahead of Joe, but it's close. It's really, really close. Jalen Hurts is a guy that skyrocketed. Honestly, at the beginning of the year, he'd probably be at 20 in my eyes. He would probably want to have been in probably the top 15, maybe top 20. But he's totally skyrocketed. And part of that is because of his good team, And I got 2 at 10, another guy that skyrocketed. You give some guy weapons. Here's proof just with Jalen Hurts and Tua. It's not all on the quarterback. Yes, it takes time for them to develop and stuff, but you look at the Eagles and look at the Dolphins, they both gave them weapons, and Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown. And now look, I mean, they've totally doubled their production. Geno Smith is another guy that raised, and he could be, arguably, Geno could be higher. I mean, he's slinging that thing. I mean, absolutely throwing tight spirals. If not, he has one of the best looking balls this year, honestly, just throwing tight spirals. I just can't put him higher yet. I just can't. But he slowly impressed me. I mean, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the year, I mean, is Drew Lock going to start over? I mean, that's how bad it was. It's like, is Drew Lock going to start or Geno Smith? But I mean, he's honestly impressed me so much, and just the fight he has, and his story's awesome. I mean, everyone, like you said, everyone counted him out. He didn't write back or whatever. Now I got Trevor Lawrence. Now Russell, dude, he's like the Tom and the Aaron effect on me, where it's like, you got his past. You have his past, and I have to respect it somehow. I mean, if in the beginning of the year, he would have been top 5 easily, top 10, no doubt in my mind. You know what I'm saying? But after watching him this year, it's just like he could be lower. I mean, honestly, I would put him lower, but it's just his past that kind of hangs him on. I mean, I could easily put Jared ahead of him. I mean, honestly, hands down, I think Jared's had a way better season than Russell this year. It's just Russell's past that it's just holding him on a little bit at the 22 spot. But still, what a dramatic turn. I mean, talk about the most memed quarterback. I mean, he was one of the most respected quarterbacks ever, I thought. Seattle loves him, but out of nowhere, he goes to the Broncos, and it's just flipped his career on. And you talk about he was I don't know if he's a Hall of Fame career or not, but you talk about he was on his way, and just the full 180 on his career path. I mean, you see the Broncos players, it's like, holy crap, we thought we had, I mean, the Broncos, I feel bad for the Broncos fans. You know how much hype they had going in for this season, and then just to see their offense like that. I mean, it's still the first half of the season, and you still got a lot of time, but wow. And everybody else, I mean, you can argue here and there. I have Carson Wentz as the worst quarterback. Could be disrespecting him, I don't know, but that's just my opinion. That's my worst ranking quarterback. Now, I didn't want to spend too much time on this list trying to explain everything. I just wanted to touch on the ones that might be more controversial than the others. Just get my why I thought that way. But that's the list how it is. That's my list. Now, as I was saying earlier in the video, I looked at my opinion. Everyone does opinions. So I wanted to do something. I wanted to just see career stat lines 1 through 32 on the quarterbacks and see where they fall. Now, obviously, stats are a funny thing, because you can paint a picture with stats any way you want, And when I was really struggling if I should do career stats or the season stats, and I decided to do career stats because, I mean, you look at the season stats, it's only halfway through the season. And, some people are starting, some people have played all the games, some people have played a couple games. So I was just like, yeah, let's do career stats. And I know with career stats, some of the stats heavily favor the long tenured guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, the guys that have been in the league for a long time, and punishes the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, because they really honestly haven't just been in the league for that long to touch up their stats. So what I did was I looked at important stats. I looked at rushing TDs, rushing yards, passing TDs, passing yards, just to level out the runners and the throwers a little bit. And then I did QBR ratings so QBR rating is kind of different. It's not really tenured like the other previous 4 are. It doesn't rely so heavily on how long you've played. But I got QBR, and then completion percentage, and average throw yardage. And those 3 I think are the most, they're not that much heavily relied on the most leagues. So that kind of balances it there. And then to go one step further, I did games played and interceptions, which will totally hurt. So Tom Brady, it would be number 32 with the most games played, and whoever has the least amount of games would be number 1. Okay, so that's how I ranked it. And so after I took all of those stat lines, I added up all their ranks. So let's just say Josh Allen at number 1 at rushing TDs, for example. And then Josh Allen at passing touchdowns in his career is 6 on the list out of all the 32 quarterbacks. And on the next one, he's 8th. So I did 1 plus 6 plus 8, and then added the rest of his. And then I put his total score on, and I ranked them all against the rest of the 32 quarterbacks just to see how that one lays out and who has it and how that one has 1 to 32 of the quarterbacks ranked. Just to have no opinion, anything, just stat based. And I tried to get the unfairness out of it, but still, you'll see the list kind of still favors the long tenured guys, and it doesn't really help the guys that are doing really well right now in the league. So what I did, I grabbed all these stats of week 7 of the 2022 year. So I'll first start with games played, just so you can get a feel of how these look and how many games one quarterback's played other than the other. So the least one, number 1, Zach Wilson, 17 games. He's only played 17. Just now, or till week 7, he's played 1 full season. Remind you, this is week 7 stats, so they've gone to, obviously now, Zach Wilson's at 18 games, but whatever. Justin Fields at 2, Davis Mills, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Joe, Jalen Hurts, Justin. You see the list. That's how it falls. I'll leave it up on the screen for a little bit so you can read it. And then you got Tom Brady at 310 games. My God. Now, let's go to TD passes. And right off the bat, you see Tom Brady as that number 1. And honestly, it's not a surprise. He's the most long-tenured QB in the league. But then you got Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan. Those are the 3. They're at 30 and 32 on the games played. You got Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson is up there, Kirk Cousins, and the list goes on and on. There's a couple people. You see like Patrick Mahomes played less games than Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott, but he's got more touchdowns than them. So, some of these stats, if the quarterback's doing really balling in that stat line, they still got a shot to be ahead of the long-tenured guys or the guys that have played more games than them. Here's passing yards, and again, look who's on top of the list. Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, the 3 longest tenured guys in the league. But then it breaks off a little bit more, and as you can see, Jared Goff at 9, Derek Carr at 7, Kyler Murray at 18, and Justin Fields at 32. Now, a stat line that helps the rookies out and the less tenured guys, interceptions. And no surprise, Tom Brady at 32. See, this is where it will balance out a little bit. That's how the interceptions rank out. Now here's completion percentage. Joe Burrow at 68.4, number 1 in the league. Surprising too, Jimmy Garoppolo up on 67.2. Damn, Jimmy. Okay. Matt Jones at 67.2. Tua's up there. Everyone, when he was coming out of college, that accuracy. And there you go. You see it right there, 67. Kirk Cousins is up there. Kyler, Dak, Patrick, Justin, and Aaron. And then you have the rest of the guys right there. And surprisingly, Josh Allen is at 23. My number 1, he's at 23 with 62.7. Now for rushing yards, we got Russell Wilson at number 1 with 4,443 yards. Then no surprise, Lamar up there. Josh Allen is up there. And Kyler. Those are all, you could argue, except for Russell Wilson now, the top 5 mobile quarterbacks in the league, you could say. And Daniel Jones is a little below there, but, he's, because he's not as long tenured. And you also got Justin Fields. He's been breaking out with rushing. But, so that's how rushing. Now, here's rushing touchdowns. You got Josh Allen at 1. Aaron Rodgers both tied for first. Dak Prescott and Ryan Tannehill tied for 3rd. And honestly, the most surprising one out of all of this one, though, is Patrick Mahomes at 8. Just surprised me with his mobile capabilities only at 8. But that's what rushing touchdowns look like. Here's QBR. Say what you want about QBR, but Patrick Mahomes has the crown on that, 106.2. And then the rest of them falls right down, and you got Jimmy at 5, surprising, but yep, that's QBR right there. And then lastly, average passing yards. And look at number 1, Jimmy G, man, 8.3. You can say all he wants. He probably has the least amount of attempts out of all the quarterbacks with all the run plays, how heavy dominant the run game is. But that's a stat, 8.3. He is the leader behind Patrick Mahomes. That just goes to show you. And Aaron Rodgers, then you got Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow's up there, Jameis Winston. But really the surprising one is Jimmy G at 8.3. Are you kidding me? Damn. So like I said, now here's the rank how all of the tallies up work. So I looked at all of their rankings, and then I added what their place was. So like I said before, if Josh Allen was at 1, I added, that's 1. Then if he was ranked at 6 on another, that's 6. 1 plus 6, 7. Then you add the rest. Did that for everyone, and here is the list for it here. Number 1 quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Number 2, it automatically derails, Russell Wilson. Now, you could argue if this was the beginning of the year, Russell would be at number 2. You could make that argument. You could. You cannot make that. I mean, yeah, you know, all this is opinion based and whatever, but I'm sorry. You cannot make that argument right now as it sits. And right now as it sits, he is not the number 2 quarterback in the league. So that one is a heavy outlier for me. Number 3, Dak Prescott. As a Cowboy fan and as a Dak fan, I don't disagree with it. I love it. But I could see it might be a little blatant and off for some people, like having him over Patrick Mahomes and other people. But that's how it is. For Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you can argue who's in front of him, but he's definitely a top 5. Lamar Jackson. A lot of people have Lamar as top 5. Don't disagree with that in top 5. Joe Burrow. Don't dislike him at 7. Kyler Murray might be a little high, but again, this one's not my opinion based. Tom Brady at 9 and Josh Allen at 10. So that's the top 10 right there. Take Russell out. I think that's a pretty good top 10 for statistic wise. And with it being so heavily dominated by the long tenure guys. So I feel like it kind of worked, but I still feel me trying to level it out didn't work the best. But then here's the rest of the list. Matt Ryan 11, Ryan Tannehill 12, Jimmy G at 13, Jalen 14, Justin at 15, 16 Marcus, Matthew, Jameis, Jared. So, you know, there's a couple people where I'm looking and I'm like, okay, you got Jared over Tua, huh? You got Marcus Mariota over Tua. You have Geno Smith super low, but, you know, his bad pass really hurt him in this list. So you know how it doesn't favor some of the people. And my main goal was try to equal it out to the rookies. And you could see at the bottom of the list, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. So you can say what you want. I don't think my idea was that successful in, you know, not having such a huge disadvantage for them. But yeah, you just see here, I mean, like you have Justin at 15. I mean, that you're saying Kyler, Matt Ryan's playing better with him. You would take Ryan Tannehill over. You know, I don't think anyone would take those people over Justin. So it does. This does have a fault, and honestly, it just goes to show how stats can be faulty. And I honestly, to wrap this video up, I don't know if this was entertaining or not. Hoping it was. At least somebody found this or interesting just to see at the stat lines. I mean, Jimmy G, that one's the most eye-popping to me. 8.3 average. Wow. Anyway, that was my whole goal of this video, just to see how an unbiased, unopinionated rank would look, just looking at stats. So, and even those are unfair, but that's what I want to make. Hopefully it's entertaining. Probably no one's watching the point right now of this video. But have a good day.